But anyway, let's give it a go. Round one. Now we're gonna look around. This is, I believe, just set on a timer for you to mess around with the camera. Fortunately, you cannot skip this cutscene. In order to leave the level, so I have to just deal with it and mash through the text. It's gonna ask me to skip the tutorial, which we're yes. That's the end of that level. Cool. So there wasn't a whole lot to that first split. It's mostly just leaving. Right at the beginning of this chapter here, we're going to see a mailbox of a snail. And if you just walk forward, it'll start a cutscene, but the hitbox for it is not that big, and you can just walk around it. I'll do that. Right around it. I'm going to save this from Morel from this mole that's beating him up. And we're going to learn we have telekinetic powers. Pull items that have spores. Glowing bits. Here. So you notice that I'm doing a jump for all of my movement. When you do a roll using the B button here, it does speed you up just a little bit from what you're talking. I believe it's meant to be like a dodge roll, but if you jump right at the end of roll animation, it extends that jump very far, so you can that becomes the main form of movement in the game. Okay. Avoid the enemies. Carry this gas can all the way over here. Skip. Good chunk of this level. Barely made it. Alright. Excellent. So I placed that gas can right there at a specific angle that I can jump up behind where that mole is at. And like I said, skip a good chunk of like walking around to get up here instead. I have to kill the mole that's there behind the minecart because there's an invisible barrier that it is tied to. So I have to take it out in order to be beyond it. And the reason that I have to do that is, you notice I've collected a few random items, the scav as it's called, and those items are used to create weapons. Most of the weapons are not that great, but we have one category of weapons called the thrusters, and those are by far the best weapons. They have the highest DPS you can do with a jump attack. So it just so happens that the majority of the items that we need, or that we can access quickly, go towards those weapons. It's handy to grab this quickly. but I won't have one for another level or two. Bulls. Now I'm gonna put these nails. Oh, another one side there throwing stuff at me. Oh, I barely made it. Nice. There's this quarter right here that it swallowed. And then we're gonna come to a little gotcha machine, I guess. And during a cutscene, I'm skipping a lot of cutscenes here just by mashing. During that cutscene there, we give the quarter to the machine, and it gives us a sticky hand, and that becomes another big traverse for us. Here, adjust. So this. There we go. It wants you to do a bunch of platforming using the sticky hand to go up there, but the sticky hand has quite the distance to it, so we try to skip a lot of that if we can, given that there's a spot to hook high up. Cool. Most of that time lost there, I think, was actually just from not being able to hook onto the quarter there. The game is very precise with its aiming in regards to like where you hooked onto something. You don't just like aim at it and it'll hook to the center of it. No, like if you aim at the side of something, the sticky hand will go towards that side. Oh, camera, what are you doing? Okay, here I'm just going to point the Wii remote to the right. Mash B. Good. Get this fan over onto top of the rabbit right. So the rabbits in here are chewing on the roots of the kudzu, and they are asking for my help deal with them so that they will help me get out of this. So I have to take out 5 rabbits that are within here. 2. Get to do a little bit of back and forth. First 3 spawn right away, and then after those 3 are done, 2 more will spawn, including one back in the first room. A tunnel. Here, get the 3rd one. I need fogs on them. I do need to wait just a little bit for this 4th one because you can drop the item too early. Should be good. Yes. Okay. I've definitely dropped that shovel too soon. 3rd. I got turned around really hard. It put me in a weird angle. I was like, usually I just hold forward and I go through. Go back. Here. That's the end of that. It'll probably take a bit of a time loss then, just because I got turned around with the weird camera angle that it gave me. That's okay. Here. No. Yes. Okay. I gotta look at my splits. So here we have our first actual boss fight. We got this jackrabbit that is going to spit up these apple cores at us. And I need to grab them out of the air and then throw them back at him to provoke him. And then get him to run into one of these rocks as a result, so that I can actually deal damage to him. Jump out of the way so he runs into it. Come back. You notice that I roll in and out of this as well. That's because he's kind of got this raking his antlers across the ground attack, and you can interrupt that animation by just rolling towards him. He starts to guard instead. basically do that on every single phase. That was really good, actually. For that last one, I got it a little bit faster. There's only 4 hits on him. Good fight. We're out of here. Hey, what's up, Jaxler? Thanks for the luck. Cool. Good fight. So this next chapter has one of the trickiest tricks, the hardest tricks in the game. B, or the nail skip. So these bees right here have a little like guarding cutscene if I try to go up the ramp. They want you to kill the bees in order to proceed. You do it right, you can jump on that nail and get past the barrier that has it, so I'm grateful to do that. Because if you don't do that first try, you get stuck in that area for eons, and it's not great. Because you then have to try and reset it up with more bees that have spawned, or you have to try and kill all of them, which just takes a lot of time. There's another barrier here. Nice. Some Amanita mushrooms. The Amanitas are the enemies of the game. They spawn right then that you're supposed to fight, and they have that invisible wall to them. I just kind of dropped over. But if you do the long jump correctly, you can kind of push yourself over the barrier there as well and skip the whole fight. Now for the biggest skip of the entire game. This entire level is just skips. Go grab the safety pin here. Build an item. And we're just going to walk out of bounds right here. Don't have to do anything special to get out of bounds. You literally just have to walk into that corner. There's no hitbox for it. Just fantastic. We're going to stay out of bounds here. This. Now we can get our first thrust weapon, the safety stabber, which is an upgrade for damage as a base, and an upgrade just based on it's a thrusting weapon, bashing weapon. Now, while we're still out of bounds, we can just kind of jump and float around the level and head behind here where the... oops, there is a little bit more to split. Been a little while. Head out of bounds, which is pretty awesome. And just skip that entire level. So the reason that is the biggest skip of the game is not just because it's an out of bounds thing, but because what they want you to do in that area is one giant puzzle. You're supposed to use those towers that were there to turn domino pieces. You're supposed to basically pick up a piece, rotate it 2 or 3 times, and then pick it up with the next tower, and you have to move them all the way across the entire area. It takes a ton of time. Like that thing saves probably something like 5 minutes at least. It's quite the same. So thankfully, we don't have to do that, because that mini game is very slow. Here we get to see there's a couple of 2D sections, and the glitched jump still works. Handy. Okay. Now we've got a boss fight with this possum. I need to be very careful about how soon I take these acorns down. If I do it too fast, they do grow back, but the growth rate is very... wow, I caught that. Is very, very slow and random as well. So I can't guarantee that I'll have what I need. So it's best for me to leave it there until the last second, so that I can hit him right away. That was an excellent fight. Wow. Let's go. Oh, you learned the run, huh? Sick. Good to see another person pick it up. Okay, still a gold split. That's fantastic. That was an awesome split. I'm super happy with that. I knew I had a ton of time to save there, so I wasn't that worried about the 20-second loss. Okay, now for the unfortunate level of the Mighty Morels. I've got to do this puzzle here, which is really precise. You can't drag each one of these Scrabble pieces down. You have to click on one and then move it in every single tile individually. Okay. So that gets very tricky and stressful on your hands sometimes as a result. Here we have to jumpstart the engine that's in here, the engineer has, and as we do that, the Amanitas come in, and he seals us in with them to fight them. So, there's no escape. Okay. If they get positioned in the right spot, I can use these cars to hit them, which it does a lot more damage than my current weapon does. I can also hit them very quickly. Ooh, so let's attack him. Okay. Got another big guy somewhere, don't I? Okay, here. Yeah. Good positioning. That was not the greatest fight, but I've had worse, so... Right. So this big area is just one giant maze of going back and forth. I move these doors in such a way that I can go in and out of them without having to open them up every single time, because every single time you pull one of these pins, it closes the door behind you to open the one in front of you. But there is a way to set it to where you don't have to do that. The hardest part about this level, because of all this, and if you recall, I said that everything aiming-wise in this game is extremely precise. That includes all these little tiny pins that I'm trying to hit, so it becomes... First part of it done. That is the wrong button, that is the right one. So I just got an upgraded weapon, it's going to deal more damage. Which is going to help tremendously with a few fights coming here. You'll notice that sometimes I'm not getting the final hit in on something. That's because if they are bleeding, in a sense, that means they're one or two hits away from dying, and you can actually use the telekinesis to get that final hit on them. which really helps if you're struggling to hit them in general. Because while the thrusting weapons deal the most DPS, they're also a poke, right? In front of you. So if you miss, you're out of luck. Very for a second. Oh. It's so hard. Oh! The button too soon. So, you can, also just lost my train of thought because I was trying to hit like 2. Okay, that's what it was. Normally, when you go up on the picky hand, it grabs onto the side and then you can jump from there. But that's slow, so what we tried to do instead is release it right before we hit the item that we grappled to. Like that, so that we can avoid that animation. Okay. Got a few more to kill in here, and then I'm out. There we go. We're almost done with this level. There's a lot more to it, containing collectibles and things. Don't need to go through. So now that we've done what we need to, we've gotten access to this crossbow that we are going to use to fight the Amanitas who are trying to get in via air. Which is just a mini game to see how many you can get. The game actually does not have a counter that you're supposed to hit. The game ends as soon as you die instead. So there's really no point in me actually hitting the things, because if I do, that wastes time. So we're just gonna chill out here for a minute. Okay, the engineer is out of here, leaving me on my own. He opened up some paths for me to get out. And we're going to... oh, excellent. Well, I might have to do it again, actually. Okay, I didn't have enough height. Okay, that's the end of this level then. Very good. Yep, that's to be expected with that level. That is the most inconsistent level. The fights that you have to do in it, trying to do them quickly is very, very hard. I still have more time save elsewhere though, so this really isn't all too bad. This level in particular, I have a lot of time to save in. Which is a bunch of fights against these shiitake mushrooms who are trying to basically test you. See if you're, like, good enough to go after everyone. The evil mushrooms. So there are basically factions versus... in the game for what mushrooms are good or bad, and they're essentially, you know, edible mushrooms versus poisonous ones. The amanitas are the main villains, and they are all poisonous. Okay. Put this flower before I do my jump animation for the wind, so that it starts growing ahead of time. The water out. Can lower the water and get into. You can do this level in either direction. It's a big loop. I'm essentially doing it the reverse direction though. The other way is like the more obvious route to go through. But this one makes it far more consistent with the water shiitake, which is the final one we'll be fighting as a result. These guys right here, though, chopping down these bamboo trees that they are in, be pretty hard with the poking weapons. But okay, that went pretty fast that time. They also will disappear again. It's one of the few fights that I don't really do a lot of jumping to do my DPS. Just because it's very, these guys are small and it's very easy to do. Here we go. That wasn't too bad, honestly. The hard part otherwise with them is that they actually, you know, are smart AI, and they go towards the thing that gives the player health to give themselves health as well, so it becomes a little frustrating. So now, as we went the back way, we drained the water, and we can take out the water shiitake here. Much easier. Because this is all the water that he has to deal with, instead of the entire arena. Okay. That was actually quite good overall. I think I'm saving time here. Excellent. Wow. Big gold split. That's one of my most inconsistent stages, just because you can very easily just miss everything. So I'm pretty happy with that. Hey, what's up, Click Spark? Thanks for the luck. This next level is a pretty big one. We have to go and free a cactus to help us fight a giant Amanita general. But first, we have to go see him so that the level unlocks itself. That's him up there. Say hello to Cactos. It is a derest, yes, but I have derested a little bit offline already, so I tend to derest my games very quickly. But, okay. Since Cactos is now trapped, they also stole his arms, so we have to go get his arms back so that he can actually help us. So the first arm, the right arm, is in this trapped cage in the other room, and we have to unlock 2 gates, or 2 nails, I guess, to unlock him. first nail. Basically, you have to go hit a switch, and then I have a timer start to when the frying pan that's covering the nail, so that I normally wouldn't be able to access it, will go back down. So we're going to try and jump up here and attack over these barriers. Perfect. That is a very tricky thing to do. You gotta be pretty precise on when you do your attacks so that you can actually make it over the barrier. If you don't do that, then you have to go through the entire barrier maze, which is just back and forth, all the way to the left, all the way to the right, but that takes a long time to go through in comparison, so. Very good skip. Saves a lot of time. I got a meteorite. I don't actually collect those normally. If one comes to me, that's great because it actually does help me a little bit. But it's slow to just go out of my way to get them. Basically, they give me a little bit more of my telekinetic bar and a little bit more health to work with as well if you get enough of them, but speedrun, and I don't have time to do that because most of them are very far out of the way. Excellent. We have these pistons that we just need to put their caps on top of, and then it'll make those platforms rise, but I only need to get one of them to actually get up here. Thanks to that extended jump that I can do. Alright, now we've freed Mr. Left. Oh. Please let me out. Okay, we're fine. Now we gotta go back to Cactos. A couple of enemies spawn in that hallway now. Okay, we can just... another benefit to having the thrusting items is with that aerial attack, you can just kind of dodge past a lot of them. Now we're going to use these baseballs to attack the enemies that have appeared. That kills them far faster than any of my weapons can. Not too bad. I'm gonna bring this baseball with me down the hallway. Down the hallway, please. Here you go. Throwing items can be a little finicky sometimes. Side, please. Dude. Thank you. So, anyway, we've now freed Cactos, and he's going to go help us fight this giant General Amanita. Got that baseball to throw down here, so that we could use it within the fight that's here to try and take out enemies faster, because, again, that usually takes them out faster than you just attacking them. Especially like these big guys. That was pretty good for the first phase. So now he's going to try and chase me around the arena. He makes me the high priority instead of Cactos. I just have to run for a little while so that Cactos annoys him enough that he'll go back to fighting Cactos. Go. Oh. Not too bad. Now they move into this other room, and I'm gonna do a new strat here, and hopefully save time as a result. Excellent. Got that first try. Nice. So what we had been doing before was climbing up that manually, all the way up. There were no scorpions that spawned in here. That's weird. This is the first I've done it in a run. Why no scorpions spawned here, I don't know. I wonder if I have to go to the bottom one, have the scorpions spawn, and if that's the case, it's definitely faster. I didn't have them spawn again? What? There's got to be some invisible trigger then that I'm unaware of, and that's fantastic. All right, well, what a chapter. I think that's another gold split. No, it's not, but that's incredible. Hey, thanks for stopping in, Tim and Paul. Appreciate you being here. See you next time. Not a gold split, but I mean, that was quite good. I'm very happy with that. Okay, only a couple of levels left. We're gonna glide down here so that we can open up next area. Also, we're gonna grab this piece of scav, which has an engagement ring. Will end up being the key to the best weapon in the game. Now that's open, we can just cut through the eggs. Okay, now make this engagement zinger. Still a little bit more, but okay. Don't hit me, bees, please. Oh, I barely made it. Let's go. These are annoying. Normally I would just ignore those guys even there, but I had 3 of them kind of appear right in front of me, so I wanted to take them out before they hit me while I was midair, and I just fell. Now we get a glimpse of the actual villain of the game here, Pester, who is a Lepiota mushroom, which is also toxic. Okay. Made it over. Oh, I died. I guess I took enough damage somewhere. So there's just falling debris here that I have to avoid, which isn't too hard. I just didn't realize that didn't look to see that I had that low of health. I'll make this here. Okay, good. Pester's got a rocket, because, you know, as mushrooms do. The toxic mushrooms do. And then this is just a climb up this shaft, which is very annoying. Because there's not really anywhere that I can skip a step. I pretty much have to hit every single step on the way up. And if you slip once, you just kind of fall all the way down. Alright, now time for the worst boss. The turtle is cute, clear. The fighting of the turtle is not great. So I only have so much of my telekinetic power at once, and I have to use it for every single aspect of the fight. Oh, I might be in trouble. Okay. So they put these bees around so that you can get more in the middle of the fight, so you're not locked out of it. But on certain parts of the fight, the bees like to just run away from you instead of actually attack you instead, which makes it really hard to do what you need to do when you don't have a way to refill your telekinesis. So now I've got to chase down some bees. Really gonna chase them down, are they? Bees? Oh, I did that side already. Oh, I'm full. Not a good fight. Fun. I died as well. Oh no! Oh man, terrible fight. But it's up to luck, honestly, for when the bees just appear and let me hit them. Hey, what's up, a pot dot? Mushroom. Now we're in this very unclean living area for this person. This human that we're just kind of, you know, going through house. Trailer. I can skip most of that section just by doing that. Don't actually have to do the puzzle. Mouse, let me through. Okay. Mice like to attack you very quickly, so sometimes they just kind of lock you into a space and die. And we gotta use the toaster to get up even higher into the cupboard. Oop. Oh. And it is possible to get over this air conditioner. Oh yes, that's the second time I've ever done that. And otherwise, usually it hits you and it blows you off to the side. It's not enough to set you off course, but it does waste a little bit of time. Here we've got this necromancer Lepiota that spawns, and he spawns a bunch of dead mushrooms to fight us, dead amanitas. He's invincible normally, but if you just knock him off of his platform, and squish him with the robot hand that happens to be there, this is bad. Oh, that's a time loss, because I need to jump on this and then come up here. It's not much of a loss, at least, so that's good. Don't mind the spiders, you know, they're just there. Oh, take this elevator up with the joke that everyone in the world will obviously get. Everyone knows that the Lepiota are total jerks. Spores on everything except the bread in the toaster, yep. "15 seconds there. Where? At least 15. Oh, yeah, falling down to the trash can. That's right. It's like, where did I lose that much time? Yeah. Alright, well, this is the final stage. Pull the pin out from this ironing board. Use this robot, which is going to crash into this other robot, so that I can climb on top of said robot by using the robot's foot. It all makes sense. Don't worry about it. Fester essentially wants to just enslave the world using these meteorites that have been falling that gave the mushrooms life. Or I guess sentience. Now I've got to throw rocks back at Pester. He's up on the shelves, and this is going to go for a few rounds. I just got to catch the rocks, throw it back at him, and then more enemies will spawn. He increases how many rock he has with him. Where'd you go? Okay. Every single round, and then I have to hit him more times as well. That's okay. Dying here is kind of common, because he's still chucking rocks at you while you have to deal with all this stuff, but thankfully deaths are fairly minimal in the game. I'm gonna hit him a couple times until he decides to come down here to fight me. Here he goes. Ah, come on. Dude, where are you going? Thank you. I have to have him go right in front of the arm there that has a vacuum. in it, so I can activate it and suck him up. Now this is the final boss fight where we're going to fight him on top of the robot wife's head. Alright. That's time. First run in 3 years, or at least since my PB, and I'm 30 seconds off of my PB. I'm pretty satisfied with how I've de-rusted these last couple of days.